Welcome.
It's time for the further adventures of Indiana Jones.
I could have been your greatest adventure.
No, Frankfurt, no!
Pack your bag, grab your passport, and prepare to go globetrotting with Marvel Comics' classic four-color adventures of Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
So what are you supposed to be, a lion tamer?
I'm a tenured professor of archaeology.
That's gonna be a big help.
I'm here now. What do you want to talk about?
Welcome, IndyCast listeners, Further Adventures fans. I'm Joe Stuber. He's Keith Voss. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Joe. Well, I mean, whatever. It's a dark day, Joe.
It is a dark day, Keith. For those of you who haven't heard, Keith and I are lamenting the loss of, well, Keith, how would you say, one of our favorite snack time adventures?
They just keep taking stuff away from us. And they just don't care. Now, the only way that we're going to be able to relive these memories of Hostess fruit pies...
Oh, you said it.
Are you okay?
I'll be all right.
You all right?
I'll be all right.
Be strong, Joe.
Gotta toughen up.
Be strong.
Gotta toughen up like Indy would, you know?
Hey, come on. You know, Indy...
It's just, what's Further Adventures without fruit pies, Keith? Without Hostess Twinkies?
Now you got me tearing up, Joe.
Without Spider-Man coming in to save the day, or Daredevil, or Captain America, or the Hulk? I mean, who's going to save Hostess?
You know, you just sometimes wish that Indy could do it all. Most of the time he can, but even Indy wasn't able to save the Twinkie.
No. And they belong in a museum.
Well, I mean, some of them will...
They might still be in a museum.
Some of them last longer than objects in a museum.
I think I'm just going to have to hang on to my fruit pies and just... I mean, you know, they'll still be good in 10 years, so...
Yeah. I don't know about
maybe,
that.
Maybe another company will come in and buy them out, and maybe we can have...
We're going to have to go on memories just like we do when we read these Further Adventure comics. But, you know what I think will make us feel a little bit better, Joe?
What's that?
I think if we head into the Raven's Nest to chat with our very special guest, Rob Magee, about issue number 10, have a few drinks, that might cheer us up a little bit. What do you say?
I think that'll cheer us up a lot. Why don't we head into the Raven's Nest, my friend?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Well, Keith, the joint is jumping tonight, so hopefully that'll make us feel a little bit better as we walk into the Raven's Nest here. The drinks are flowing, and we've got our good friend, the man with the Indy Opinion himself, from the Indy Opinion, Rob Magee. Rob, thanks once again for joining us for the Further Adventures.
Thanks for having me on again, guys.
Oh, looks good. And you know what? I think since everybody's feeling so down tonight, I think hot toddies are probably going to be the drink of choice for you guys.
Yeah, but Joe, we are not thirsty.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? You know what? Let's drown our sorrows tonight. We've got the death of Hostess, but let's not get too down because we've got part 2 of Gold Goddess, one of our favorite adventures. Previous radio drama for those new listeners out there. Keith and Rob worked on a radio drama, so go check that out on one of the previous episodes of the IndyCast. Excellent job, and talk about a cliffhanger. But we are going to get into this, and we also. Hey, Rob, thanks again too. Really enjoyed being on the roundtable with you on the last one.
That was a lot of fun.
Had a lot of fun. Keith, sorry we missed you.
I listening back to it, you guys had me howling, really howling. We mentioned off air earlier. I just lost it when Ed was mentioning Mitch's perfume scented emails. I lost it. I absolutely lost it. For some reason I believed him. I believed, Mitch pulled that off somehow. Perfume scented emails.
It was good. He's got a good sense of humor, and so we had some fun. But yeah, Keith, you were definitely missed on it. But real quick, we were talking about the purchase of Lucasfilm from Disney. Just real quick before we get to the issue, what was your opinion on that? How do you think that's going to shake out for more Indy, less Indy, no Indy?
Oh, that's a really good question. like you mentioned, when I first saw the news, I was in shock. I was like, "Well, we're getting more Star Wars movies? Wow!" But after thinking about it, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad we're going to get more Star Wars movies. As far as Indy goes, I wish I could be as I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a new movie per se. I think we're going to get something. I would be happy with a new comic series, obviously. I mean, I think that would be the way to go again. But if we do get a new movie, hey, I'm not going to build up my expectations. If we get a new movie, great. I would be super happy about that. But if not, I mean, let's be honest. Their focus is on Star Wars right now. I'm happy that we're going to get new Star Wars movies. But as far as Indy goes, I don't think we're going to, I don't share your expectations here. I don't think we're going to get a new movie. I do think we're going to get something, be it an animated series or perhaps even another comic series. Let's see where everything lands once this news that has been thrown into the air at us. Let's see where everything lands, and then let's see what we get after Star Wars has been put out there. Well,
Rob, you were talking about having a revamped Indy opinion. Maybe this is a good topic for it. Get somebody that thinks, a lot of us think that there is going to be more Indy. It's almost split. As we go through, some think that's no Indy. So you talk about your debate. You're going to moderate these upcoming Indy opinion debates too. And your brood has an Indy opinion as well. You got two Indy opinions there from what we. Rob's playing daddy. Rob brought an infant into the Raven's Nest tonight. I don't even know if this is legal. Of course, I guess we're going back to the 30s, so I guess anything's legal back then.
No cigarettes for the kid. No cigarettes for the kid. Come on, what are you thinking there? Rob, come on.
I didn't even have to put her in a car seat to bring her over here.
No seatbelt, nothing. What's going on here?
Just as long as she doesn't cry over the death of Hostess as well, because then we're all going to be bummed out. So, all right, we've got the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones here. Issue number 10, Part 2 of Gold Goddess. Keith, give us the creator rundown, if you will.
Hopefully you guys grab your issue and you're reading along with us. The creative rundown, Further Adventures of Indiana Jones, issue number 10. Wow, can you believe we're at issue number 10? Jeez. The Gold Goddess, chapter 2, Amazon Death Ride. Cover date, October 1983. The cover, Howard Chaykin, Bob Wyacek. Plot, Archie Goodwin. Script, David Michelinie. Pencils by none other than Dan Reed. Inks by Danny Bulinati. Colors by Bob Sharon. Letters by Joe Rosen. And guys, let's get to it. What do you think of that cover?
Well, one thing, before we get to the cover, you'd mentioned about Archie Goodwin. I don't know if we made a big enough deal about this last time, but we talked about how these plots were from Archie Goodwin, the late Archie Goodwin, and it was for a proposed newspaper strip. That just never happened and never materialized. So David Michelinie was able to take these and craft them into some really cool adventures.
And you gotta wonder if they had one of these, they had to have a couple already in as far as ideas go on paper. They had to have a couple. They wouldn't just go into a proposed newspaper strip with just one story, would they? They had to have a couple of ideas going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's got to get you thinking. Who knows what else was put out there.
Well, that would be kind of cool because I know they put out a lot of the old James Bond newspaper strips that they released those into trade paperbacks, and so that'd be kind of cool if these old indie adventures were out there and somebody took them and released them as well. So
I agree. We're constantly unearthing stuff here. Like these guys, these artists, writers that we're interviewing, they're constantly finding stuff buried in their basements. Who knows? Maybe we can get into one of these old warehouses again and make another discovery.
That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. But how about that cover, Rob? What are you thinking whenever you see that?
It's a great cover. We got Indy in action on the plane. There he goes losing his hat.
He does. But this time it wasn't Dan Reed's fault, though.
That's true.
Dan mentioned that in our interview. Howard Chaykin is to blame for that one. So,
yeah.
But he's not getting it back on that one.
No, that one's gone for good. You gotta love that scene. In action, holding on tight on the wing of the plane. There's Zomek coming out, and, well, that doesn't really match up with later in the story either, what he has in his hand there.
That's true. That's probably my biggest... I love this cover. That's the only thing. A grappling hook? Where does that come from?
We just had that in the biplane or what? That's a little odd.
Yeah. doesn't really tie into later in the story. If he did indeed have that grappling hook later in the story, things might have turned out a little different. If you know how the story kind of ends already. But,
and I was kind of disappointed the Idol didn't make an appearance on either cover as well, because wouldn't that be a direct tie into Raiders? I mean, you think you've got a really good chance there, an opportunity to bring that in. But Dan Reed on his revised 30 years later cover for issue number 9 was able to bring that. I thought it was cool, but a little disappointed it didn't make an appearance on 9 or 10.
Yeah, me too. But 30 years later, we did get we did get the Idol on a brand new cover.
Yep.
Further Adventures number 9. Check out our Facebook page. It's there, guys.
It's an IndyCast exclusive. So, hey, let's get to the issue itself. But before we get to that, Rob, that wasn't the little Magee, was it?
Not yet. She's still hanging in pretty tough right now.
What a set of lungs. Wow, she can scream. She can scream.
Is that Rob's daughter, or was that Wilhelmina?
Yeah,
good old Wilhelmina.
Magee. Yep.
It's got a ring to it, Rob.
It does.
Well, if you have another kid, I'm just saying that could be a name. It's not a horrible name. It's a pretty good name. Yeah, see.
She is. There she is.
Do we need to get a bottle of milk over from the waiter?
She just said, "I broke my finger and I cracked a nail." Is that? I burnt my finger and I cracked the nail, Daddy.
Where's my bottle?
She's a famous female vocalist. Yeah.
All right, we've got our cliffhanger here. The last. Sorry, Jim Shooter. I know Jim Shooter loved the one issue. Hey, if somebody misses an issue, we want to be able to figure out how to pick this up. But I love these cliffhangers, and it doesn't get more of a cliffhanger. We've got a ledge hanger.
Boy, Indy's arm looks really long there, huh?
He's been hanging for a whole month.
Yeah, I mean, it really is stretching him out.
Stretch Armstrong.
He's been hanging for a whole month before we found out what happened to him. Jeez. Oh,
He's been hanging there for quite a while.
I love the way that this book opens up. I mean, you get a cliffhanger in the truest sense of the word from last issue, from issue number 9, and you got this guy. He is stomping on Indy's fingers. They're 20 stories up, and I mean, Rob, when we did the radio drama, I think one of the biggest things that we were trying to figure out was like, how are we going to get your scream as Indy into the opening, because we figure, okay, if that was Indy falling, if you're Indy's voice and he was falling, how are we going to open that up? And then we just figured, well, it'll just be the Jovito's voice as he falls. So It's like, you open it up and like, this guy's stomping on Indy's fingers, and then blam, just like in the book, this guy gets shot. He goes right over the side. It is kind of sickening. Like you watch, it's pretty intense. You get that long panel, the guy hitting every like level of a building on the way down. And
it's almost like Molaram when he was just like hitting the cliff as he goes in, head and then it's almost like a Wile E. Coyote kind of disturbing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And there we go. Next page. Who's there to save his fat?
You know what? Before we get to that, I love the writing technique that we have in here, because I think if I'm remembering right, you use that in the narration, Ed's narration for the radio drama.
Yes,
because this plays out like I think 3 times throughout the issue, where we got above Indiana Jones, the last of 2 Jovito's warriors, and then we go below Indiana Jones. So we kind of get that, that sort of writing style, above Indy, below Indy, and that plays out a couple more times as we go through. So I think you were able to work that in with Ed.
Yeah. We were able to do that a few times, and it works really, really well. Especially, like you said, the way that the story plays out. It works. It works for sure. Very, very interesting writing style. But yeah, we get Marion pulling archaeologist Fat out of the fire.
That's a great shot of Marion, just sort of pulling pulling the gun.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. You can't get any better from Marion. She's wearing this beautiful gown, and she's holding a smoking gun. She's pulling Indy up. I mean, is she not Indy's equal at that point? You see her, and you just think like she is the female counterpart, the true female counterpart to Indiana Jones. Is Marion Raven.
Yep, it's perfect. I mean, that is the Raiders' Marion.
Yes, it is.
She's there, and she's got his back.
Exactly.
And resourceful, because she gets the gun off the guard. But what was the deal in the last issue? Because didn't we kind of assume Zomek got the guard's gun, that he sort of took him out, But Marion's got the gun. Was there another guard? Was
Well, she mentions that she...
Did Zomek drop the gun?
I think Zomek, after he shot you in the arm, Joey.
Joey! Holy jeez, my arm.
I think he snagged the gun from the guard. He pumped a couple of bullets into the door, and then I think he just dropped it. I mean, where is he going to put that gun?
Yeah,
like we mentioned, he's got limited places to stick that gun.
Yeah.
So he probably
he dumped it. Marion picked it up, and thank goodness, because I guess the guard made it. I guess according to her, he was just knocked out. So it was tough to tell from last issue, but
good old Carver. I think he was just knocked out, but we find that. The Jovitos, or just Zomek at this point, he's the only one left. He just he takes off around the far corner. Indy gets his bearings. He follows him, and this was probably one of my most difficult challenges writing the radio drama, because I really added a lot to it. Was this whole ladder spanning the two buildings? You see Zomek; he's already on the other side. Indy's think, anybody else get a Last Crusade vibe on this, or even Temple of Doom, the whole bridge scene? But I got a little bit more of a Last Crusade vibe when he has to take a leap here, like a leap of faith. Mm-hmm. And I kind of worked both of those things into the radio drama, and I had him think back to the rope bridge, and I even wrote out that he takes a leap of faith. So I wanted to work those things in just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a callback to those movies. But I really thought that this was a clever little scene, especially the way it was played out in the panels. I thought it worked really, really well.
Do we know where the ladder came from?
I guess Zomek. They worked their way up the other side of the building, and probably
it's not
maybe
in the last issue. So
yeah.
It's just there. It's a plot. We'll see that play out through this issue a few times. Where
it's not there for long, though, Joe.
No. Well, I mean, what's he going to do? Let him crawl across and reach him? And it's like, no, he takes him out. Infidel, you die.
Now you die. And how great is that? And then you got the title, Gold Goddess, Amazon Death Ride, and Indy is just on his way down the streets below.
I love that panel.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, it's just like straight at the street. Love the perspective.
Yeah.
And then we get our second above and below. We get Marion Ravenwood stairs, helplessly horrified. She's above. Indy is below. He's heading down fast. And what's that sticking out there? There's something directly into his path.
In true Indy fashion. I mean, it's just like these crazy things happen. I mean, he's got to be booking as he flies down this thing, and all of a sudden there's of course there's flagpoles. He's able to snag a flagpole off the building and somehow make it. I love this.
What did you guys think of him grabbing that flagpole?
Go ahead, Rob. I mean, I've got. What's your Indy opinion?
Hey, it's Indiana Jones. I mean, that's what Indiana Jones is about. I mean, how in the world is he possibly going to survive this fall? Why not a flagpole? I mean, it could have been a refrigerator, but it was a flagpole.
Could have been a flying raft or a runaway mine cart. Yeah, I mean, and obviously we hadn't had those crazy things yet, but even Raiders got kind of crazy. I mean, there were some things. It was set in a practical world, but there were still some larger than life things that he had done in that movie. So I don't know that this is completely out of the realm, but we're pushing it at this point. And for them to have a conversation afterwards, like this, hey, how you doing?
Marion says it herself that he's got the luck of a saint. I mean, we know it's Indiana Jones. If he wasn't, able to get out of this somehow, we wouldn't have, a series. We wouldn't have any of those other movies. He's able to always conjure up some way to get out of whatever predicament he's in, or save himself, or save others. And I actually didn't mind the flagpole as much. It's kind of funny. Like there's certain things where you're like, oh, come on, that's ridiculous. But for some reason, this seemed to make perfect sense. You see that ladder just just head down and smash to bits on the ground, and then there's Indy on that flagpole saying, like, you better get a rope or something and get me out of here because
I
hope
don't know she's better with the rope than Sala was, because we talked last episode. Sala wasn't very good with the rope, so apparently Marion's better because Indy's ready to go, and they head back up into the Diamond Eye nightclub, and Marcus is taking a very mysterious call.
Yes, he is. Well, I mean, when I first read this, I always wondered who that person in the picture frame was. I was wondering, is this Marcus's office? Or is this like, does he have an office at the Diamond Eye, you think? Or is this just...
I never even noticed that. That was a good catch.
And there's a woman in a picture. Is that like, a girlfriend? Is that maybe like Marcus's daughter? Is this his office even?
It just says return to the office of the Diamond Eye nightclub. So
so like, what's Marcus then even doing in there? Like, if they set up some type of display in the last issue, like, does he have some type of it's interesting. Marion has the Raven's Nest, and maybe Marcus has the Diamond Eye. That'd be kind of interesting. He once got lost in his own nightclub.
Well, we do have this mysterious phone call that he's taking in here, and basically this person, we've got our mysterious blonde woman again, our femme fatale here, and she's offering a deal. She'll trade the Chachapoyan idol for a payment, but the payment has to be delivered by none other than
Indiana Jones.
Why? Why is it such a big deal?
Alone. Yeah, it's interesting. We still, at this point in the story, don't know exactly why she has it in for Indy, but we do find out relatively soon. And there we go. We see Zomic giving her, this mystery woman, the idol, and then we're off. We're off to the Amazon, and this steam freighter, this boat.
We've got the boat going up the Amazon River in central Brazil, heading to Manaus, and we've got the SS Williamson, more than likely for Al Williamson, famous Marvel Comics artist. So, did a lot of work on Star Wars, bringing Star Wars to the Marvel Universe. So we've got that nice little in-joke there.
Yeah, another Star Wars Indiana Jones connection.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of the other parts of the story that I changed slightly. It's kind of hard whenever Indy is by himself. It's kind of hard to get across what he's thinking. So I put another character in there so that he could actually have a conversation. That was Captain Cruz, which was voiced by fellow trivia brother Pedro Jorba. Mm-hmm. And I just figured it'd be kind of cool to throw in a new character in there, just so, like I said, just so we can get a good dialogue going, so we can kind of get a little exposition on the story. And it's interesting. When we were talking to Dan Reed in our interview, he mentioned that he got a bunch of like wilderness books and cityscape books, and he practiced drawing a bunch of wilderness landscapes, and you could definitely see it here. The detail in the wilderness landscapes is amazing. Like, you get to see like these little frogs and all these like little bugs jumping around, and the opera house. I think it's pretty incredible artwork.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, very vivid, very detailed. It really sets the scene really, really well.
For sure.
There we go.
Pretty cool.
And then into the jungle, we've got that crazy detail in the artwork. So a lot of good research by Dan Reed on that as Indy heads for hours into the jungle.
And we get Indy with a machete again, which is pretty cool. And we get Indy with a machete. He's hacking away until long last. I mean, we get Indy at an opera house in the middle of the Amazon basin.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Yeah, it is
a little bit weird. A little bit weird.
He talks about the relics of Manaus heyday. He says, according to Marcus, this one was built in the 1800s when South America controlled most of the world's rubber trade. So we're going to see that. So, Michelinie's setting the stage here, because this really that is a plot point that enters into the story later.
I mean, are you guys upset that Marion isn't with him, or I mean, this is just Indy on his own at this point? I mean, are you guys kind of
well, he was told to show up alone, so I mean that was the deal. I think if anybody had been with him, the deal could have been off. So I think he was just like, you know what, this is going to be bad. I know it's going to be bad. They want me there. Let's just keep everybody out of it. I can handle myself.
Yeah, for sure. And that opera house is indeed a relic of Manos' heyday, but it's also...
It's a trap! It's a trap!
And Indy is surrounded by Jovitos again. It's covered, but still cheeky. But, I mean...
they are a little cheeky.
You know, still cheeky,
Thank
these
you,
guys.
Dan Reed, for covering them up a little bit for our benefit. Thank you.
Yeah, they're a little bit more covered, but these guys are just jumping out of trees, and they're starting to surround me. And we get, like, a pretty intense drawing here. Indy just takes out his gun, and he just starts blowing guys away. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, you see that dark look in his eye. He's very focused, and he just starts shooting guys at close range.
Yeah. Rob, what are your thoughts on that? Because we've talked about on past episodes of Further Adventures how this is really a dark series. This isn't really Archie comics. It's not Richie Rich. I mean, these, they're obviously catered for kids, or catered to kids, but not that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty intense. You look at that scene, kind of gangster Indy, man. I mean, he's just blaring away right there. And, yeah, I mean, none of those guys have guns. They're coming at him with knives.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of that in Raiders, too, where he just kind of opens fire. I don't know that we saw that as... I mean, we saw it some in Last Crusade, and it kind of shocked his father a little bit, too, but... yeah, I mean, that's who Indy's character is. He's not...
Yeah, he does what he does to survive. And, these guys are coming after him, and I'm sorry, it's either them or him. And,
were you disappointed we didn't get as much of that in Crystal Skull?
I'm actually slightly disappointed that, I mean, he didn't even shoot the gun off once. I mean, he didn't need to. He just kind of drew that gun out at the cemetery, and the guy got the idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have worked in this situation.
No.
If he pulls his gun out, these guys were still going to charge him no matter what.
Yeah.
I think he was in he was in control of the situation. It seemed once he had the high ground and he had his gun drawn in Crystal Skull. But here, I mean, these guys. I mean, it was a level playing field. These guys were charging him, and I mean, even with the gun. He squeezes off a couple of shots, but still, they managed to overpower him.
Yeah, I do like. That's what I love about Further Adventures is that we do have that Raiders Indy, just that, shoot from the hip. I mean, he doesn't think twice about taking out the Arab swordsman. I mean, that's like 2 seconds, whatever, boom, and it takes him out. So we definitely have that at play here, and that's one thing I love about Further Adventures is that it was just impacted by Raiders as we go through. So you have that clear-cut Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, and that the Dark Horse series that followed. Obviously, we have the sequels that play into it, and a different type of Indy that comes in. But this one's hardcore Raiders.
This is hardcore Raiders, and we do get to see darker sides of Indy throughout the series. But as of right now, he gets overrun. He gets a stab from I guess he gets stabbed or he gets I was never quite clear what exactly happened. I mean, it's described that the wound isn't deep. So was he stabbed? Was he maybe just grazed? I mean, I changed that also a little bit in the radio drama. I went for something a little bit more. Okay, he gets kind of grazed in the arm, like the spear kind of hit his bicep, but
yeah, it doesn't look like it hits him full on there. It looks like it kind of grazes the side.
Right.
Yeah, but there is poison on that spear tip. As we know, the Jovitos are poison users. The poison is still fresh 3 days.
Yeah,
they were follling him.
But this one isn't as lethal. This one just takes him out.
It's not as lethal. I mean, if they knew that he was there, they would have killed him already. But And then we get Zomek again. We see that Zomek was following his Jovito boys.
Yeah,
he was right behind them the whole time.
Yeah, he's a great villain, but again, I use the word villain, but I don't know that he really is a villain in this, in that he's just trying to reclaim their property. So, I mean, I understand the motivation there.
Oh, he's a villain. He's been monologuing the past 2 issues. He's a total villain.
Is that the barometer? Is that the official barometer? If you're monologuing, you're bad.
You're a villain.
It's a pretty good indicator. Yeah.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
And I mean, but Zomek has a great line here. Is like, after I defeated him in his land, how can he hope to win in mine? Take him. And then you see the Jovitos just drag him away. And this, Rob, I have to say, I listened to the radio drama, the second part, again, and I love the segue between when Indy gets drugged and when he awakens in the opera house. I think it's really, really well done. You get a sense of like some time has passed, and just the way the music and sound effects were edited together really brings you into the story. So very well done there.
Well, thanks. Well, I had a lot of fun doing that. I was really excited to work on this part.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much did this panel inspire you? How much did these couple of pages really inspire you when you were editing?
Oh, just as much as any of the rest of them. I mean, when you've got a guide, you better use it. Because, anybody that's read the comics, that's what they're going to be expecting. So, and certainly Keith was following it very closely. Yeah. So, I mean, you try to set, especially like what you were talking about with that transition, trying to set a bit of the atmosphere. It's kind of an eerie thing whenever she comes in and starts talking to him there. And we're on the stage of this opera house in the middle of the Amazon. I mean, it's very strange.
The whole thing is very strange, isn't it? I mean, even it's just very like I don't know. You could definitely tell he's still feeling the effects of the drug. I mean, we are introduced then. Indy's starting to come around now. He's starting to focus a little bit, and boom, there she is. Good afternoon, Dr. Jones. Yeah? I trust your head will clear momentarily. And the drug isn't lethal. It's strong, leaves no after effects. And we find out who our mystery lady is, finally. And it's Ilsa Tote, the sister of Tote from Raiders.
Yeah. And Tote from Raiders. Arnold Tote? Arnold Ernst Tote? Okay.
I think it's like now officially in canon, it's Arnold Ernst Tote.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I mean, here's the thing. In Raiders, never mentioned.
Yeah.
Except for the closing credits. And I think the closing credits just Tote?
Yeah, I believe so. And the funny thing is, Tote in German means dead. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Or if
I did not.
Did not know that.
Yeah, Tote means dead. So it's kind of funny that, like, his name is Tote. And
this does not bode well for Ilsa.
No, it doesn't. But it's, I mean, like, how strange is this whole thing? That bottom panel of like, the mists, and you see Tote's face, and like, it kind of like, it's very...
That may be my favorite panel of the two-part arc, by the way.
Now, I wonder if Indy is hallucinating here. Like, if he's just like, if he's seeing this, if he's like, if this is what's in his mind's eye, right? He's seeing Tote's face, and he's seeing all these like little weird, these weird squiggly lines, and
Yeah, I mean, we were talking with Dan Reed about this, and I think that he channeled Jim Steranko on this. When you kind of get into that psychedelic kind of look to that, it really is so much different than a lot of the other artwork that precedes it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get a bunch of exposition here from Ilsa Tote about controlling the tribes, and the idol can be used to fan all these local tribes into an uprising and destroy American rubber interests. I mean, is it too much exposition at this point? Like,
no, I think you have to kind of make a story. I mean, there does have to be a plot here. It's like, why would she care about the Chachapoyan idol? Why, it's like we're bringing all these different elements together from Raiders, because that's the only reference we have at this point, but they all have to make sense. And I love the fact that Michelini did the research, and it's like this was all there. I mean, they talk about the rubber interest in this part of the world, and it makes perfect sense with trying to get the war effort going and to produce material. So it makes sense. And then she's just like, oh, and I can get Indiana Jones in the process? Yeah, why not?
I recognize him from photographs. Oh man, if you guys ever talk to my wife about what I about directing her, because my wife played Ilsa, and
she chewed the scenery on this. She did a really good job. I mean, that was.
Yeah, she wasn't quite happy with it. I was directing her like I felt like Stanley Kubrick. I was trying to get her angry in order to get some emotion. I'm like, come on, you want to kill this guy.
Hey, MP3s are forever, right? MP3s are forever.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't very happy with me after that. But we got a great performance out of it, guys. It's all that matters. It's all about the art.
Good on her. It's all about the art.
So I mean, in the next page we get more psychedelic stuff. Like I said, I still think that Indy's just feeling the effects of these drugs, and I think after Ilsa gets her exposition out, she realizes, okay, now that I've told you everything in true villain form, I've explained exactly what's going on. Zomek, get rid of him and put him in an easily escapable situation.
Yeah, and Indy figures it out pretty quickly. I mean, he may be drugged, but he's got something up his sleeve, or at least something close to his sleeve, something on his wrist. They use these straps that they're going to tie him down with. But he takes out a couple of Jovita's warriors. He goes running, he gets tackled. We get another action scene, and it's like, oh, we caught you. You're a slow fool. No, Indy's not that slow of a fool. He fell on purpose. He was able to do.
And in that panel, when he says, maybe that's just what I wanted, you see those mushrooms that are right there? Maybe that's what was causing that that psychedelic trip. Indy, that's what I wanted. And he's looking at the mushrooms. Look at him. He's like, man, those drugs were awesome. I want some more of that.
More detail by Dan Reed.
Way to go, Dan Reed. He did say he grew up in Florida, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll have to ask him next time we talk to him again.
Yeah, what were those? So, but yeah, we've got Indy strapped down here, and he, again, it's kind of one of these James Bond. I had a Live and Let Die feel from this. We get one of these like James Bond villain setups, and we're going to take it. Just kill him. I mean, if you're going to kill him, kill him. You've got the poison darts. But nope, we're gonna, and then they tie him down. They got these. Now we talked about crocodiles, alligators. What are these things here coming after him? But if you notice in the book itself, it's never mentioned. Right. It's just always sort of like different ways. His dinner guests. The children of the river, Zomek calls them. So they never say the crocodiles. And so when we asked Dan Reed about this, he said unequivocally they were, Keith?
Alligators.
Yeah, I mean, he's from Florida. But, we did a little research, and they might be caimans. It says the black caiman of the Amazon rainforest is often mistaken for an alligator, which it closely resembles. However, true alligators live only in two places, and neither is in a rainforest environment: the southeastern U.S. and the Yangtze River in China.
Interesting.
Or in Further Adventures. So,
or in Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. Yeah, I mean, for the radio drama, I called them crocodiles.
Yeah.
So, we got all different colors of the rainbow here.
Dan grew up in Florida, so he made them alligators. So, hey, maybe some migrated from Florida. It's kind of like Jaws 4, where he just like the shark follows and goes where he wants. So,
did you really just mention Jaws 4? Did you?
Sorry.
Oh, come on.
Sometimes
Joe.
Sometimes the animals are just out for revenge.
The one where the shark roars and like it pops up out of the wall. All right, let's not even go there, please.
They may have followed him from Florida. I don't know. They could have. But it turns out that Indy actually fell down in the jungle for a reason. He was able to get some moisture from the rainforest, and once they leave, again, why leave him? Just sit back and watch the festivity, watch the dinner guests coming in. But they leave him to his own devices to be able to escape, and Indy is able to sort of use the moisture to loosen up those straps and is able to free himself. But
it also goes back to the James Bond connection. Indy is based on James Bond, and you have the villain monologuing, and we're making fun of it. Austin Powers, put him in an easily escapable situation. Really, I mean, they put him in a situation, and Indy's got to get out of it, and he does.
Rob, you're a huge Bond fan. Did you kind of get a Live and Let Die vibe when you were looking this over?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got. It's just, it is kind of a preposterous situation, and to think that they would actually try to kill him this way. But at least they didn't have lasers on their heads, the alligators. There's definitely a little bit of a James Bond feel to this. He didn't get wined and dined in high luxurious style before they tied him out by the river. But yeah, that definitely has that sense. And of course, Indy's up to the task, so.
And not only does he escape, he winds up wrestling the crocodiles.
Yeah, what'd you guys think of the fight?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was very. I love I love the description, and I mentioned crocodile. Sorry, I'll just say caiman again. Sorry. I love that whole description of how these creatures, these saurians, as it's said in the story, are watching. They're stunned by the madness they see before them. Indy is wrestling with this thing, and he wraps that leather strap around its mouth. I mean, we get a pretty intense action scene here.
Yeah, kind of a psycho look on Indy's face there too. Like he is ready for battle. It's a nice panel by Dan.
It's a great panel. I mean, and again, Indiana Jones isn't a guy to be messed with, okay? And be it man, be it beast, he's going to take you down.
Yeah, Rob, did you get that he killed the croc in this one, or the caiman?
That he killed it? I don't.
It just says the conflict finally ends.
Panel. Yeah, it finally ends. There he is in the background. Kind of looks like maybe he's still moving.
Yeah, it looks like he's writhing a little bit.
It's thrashing.
Yeah.
So I think he just tied the jaws and got away.
Yeah.
And the rest of the crocs were just kind of like amazed at all this. They're just kind of sitting back watching. So, good thing they didn't go after him.
It's
grunting
respect,
biped.
It's respect. You're like, all right, we're not messing with that guy. We're not going to mess with that guy. And then, all right, look, we get Indy.
Yeah, wasn't there? I'm trying to see the one line. Oh, the one thing I like about this was, they compare, the croc to the croc to man, and it says, but this isn't just any modern man. This is Indiana Jones. I mean, that's a great line.
Taken into consideration, all bets are even. I mean, and truer words were never spoken, were they?
Yeah, that's a great line by Michelini. I really like that. That just goes to the heart of the character.
And this next sequence is just absolutely incredible. I mean,
does this issue let up at all?
It doesn't, not for 1 second.
Nope.
And we get some amazing artwork. This plane looks incredible. It looks really, really well done. And we get a really intense Indy. He charges down that pier. He just knocks these guys right off, and he makes a leap. I also again got another Last Crusade vibe when Indy jumps on the tank. I got the same vibe when you see him just make that leap on the plane as it's starting to take off. Really, really, really amazing.
Just reckless. I mean, he does that in Raiders with the transfer. He does the other even better transfer in Last Crusade, as you mentioned. So he's just, reckless. The bridge in Temple of Doom, he just jumps without even thinking about it because he's got one thing on his mind. He wants that idol.
Yeah, and he wants that plane also on the ground. He's thinking maybe I can knock a couple of these strut supports out. I can force it into an emergency landing, and then boom, we get into Zomek and Ilsa.
Yeah, what a reaction on their faces. It's like, really? What do we have to do?
Pretty incredible. And we see the idols in Ilsa's hand. She's keeping it close by. And we see a familiar appearance.
Something else is kept close by too.
That's right.
Yeah, Zomek snagged that whip.
When you see Zomek climbing out of the plane, whip in hand, he recovered quickly from his shock. And I mean, those panels at the top and then down right into the bottom right on the other side, it's just great. I mean, you understand exactly what's happening. Indy, even though it would seem like he's at a disadvantage, the writing again tells you no, he's actually at the advantage now. Yep. And Ilsa really let Zomek down here. That was her idea for him to use the whip. And
not much help.
I guess she couldn't tell from photographs that Indy would know how to handle that.
Well, you think they know enough about this guy? They would do their homework, and they're like, no, use that whip that we took off of him, that he carries around with him. He won't know. He won't know what's coming.
Yeah. And as it mentions, he's the master of that weapon, and he uses it to great advantage. And we've got the third instance where David Michelini writes that sort of above Indiana Jones watches a fate that could easily have been his. Below, the Chachapoyan Zomek watches his grave rush up to meet him. And between the two, at long last, justice.
Yeah, that's great. That's probably one of the best lines in the whole book. But I mean, this fight is over before it starts.
Yeah.
I mean, Zomek is just outclassed in every way here. And I mean, the look on his face is just also classic.
And
I mean,
classic artwork too. Oh man,
look at that! You turn the page and wow, look, that's what you get. You get. Hopefully, everybody's reading along as we're doing this. But you turn that page and you just get that eyeful of plain.
Yeah, and we were able to uncover some of the original pencils too that they had online. So we've got those posted on the Facebook page. If you want to check out the original pencils on these, but man, Dan Reed just closes this adventure out big time.
Yeah, and he's using sound effects
as the art. Yeah.
How cool is that? I mean, you just get such a sense of there's so much going on, and it's happening so fast, and Indy just takes that wheel and says, you know what, we better not, we're not landing, we're crashing. And look, I mean, you take a look on Ilsa's face, and she's like, oh my god. She doesn't know who she's dealing with.
Right. Well, even just using the swoosh and the sound effects as the panel dividers, just such a great idea. I mean, just such a vision. Really, really good on him like that. And we see Indy just jumping out at the last second, as he often does, as that plane goes right into the water. So, did Ilsa escape?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know, do we?
We don't know. We don't. That would have been a tough one. I didn't see her jumping out, but we don't know if Zomac. I mean, it says his grave rushes up to meet him, but there's no bodies to be found. So,
and I mean, he could have landed in. I mean, they were right over the river. He could have landed in the river.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But we do know that Ilsa never makes another appearance again in the Further Adventure series. But I mean, that's a classic. That's a classic villain thing, You never want to really show that they're totally gone.
Yeah.
Because they could always come back. I mean, look, even villains in Star Wars like Darth Maul, guy got chopped in half and he's back. You know what I mean? So a little plane crash isn't going to keep someone like Ilsa Tote down. I don't think. I personally like to think that she survived the crash, and she's plotting her revenge somewhere out there.
Hey, Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Lucasfilm, so you never know if Ilsa's character might make a reappearance in a future possible Indiana Jones Marvel comic. That'd be kind of cool.
Now, I have to say, Indy winds up with the idol, okay? A lot of people that I've talked to about these issues have complained and said, I thought the issues were great, but Indy winds up with the artifact at the end, which normally, throughout the movies, Cross the Coronado put aside, throughout the movies, he never takes the artifact home with him. What do you guys think of him actually retrieving the idol?
So this one is kind of like the Cross of Coronado because it's sort of the same thing where Indy only got that after years and years of fighting and all the things that he went through to try to track it down. This is sort of the same way. This was one that had got away. He got it back. It got away again. He got it back. It got away again. He got it back. So it's kind of nice to see him end up getting to keep it in the end.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree too. I mean, I kind of get tired of the fact that he never gets what he's going after. I mean, I know that's not the point of anything. If he's going to
get something, I mean, it might as well be this. I mean, this is the first thing we see Indiana Jones ever going after.
Yeah, it belongs in a museum.
It does. And I'm kind of glad that Indy does wind up with this. I don't care if he loses everything else. This is something kind of cool that he did actually retrieve the idol, and it's sitting in a museum somewhere. Very cool.
Well, if you think about this, if he never, ever, ever brought back what they sent him to get, why would they keep sending him?
He has to bring back something.
It's like, Doc, you did a good job.
It's like, he brings back a couple of little rocks. He's like, they're good pieces. No, really, they're good pieces. I know I didn't bring back anything else, but these little rocks, they're really good pieces, Marcus. I think Marcus is brainwashed at this point. He's like, oh, more rocks again.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get increased funding when you just come back empty-handed every time.
Exactly. So. Yeah, no, it works.
This explains why they keep sending him out. He does bring back a few artifacts.
Yep.
Every once in a while, yeah.
And as always, it's Marcus's treat. My treat.
Yes, my treat. And speaking of treats, guys, in the next issue, Blades and Blood in Australia's desolate outback. Oh, I wonder if we'll see Ed Dolliston in the next couple of issues. And that's only the beginning of Indy's quest for the fourth nail. One of my favorite stories in the Further Adventure series.
Rob, thanks again for joining us for covering the Gold Goddess. We really appreciate that. And thanks for sharing your opinion with us on this adventure.
Well, thank you guys once again for having me on. It was fun.
It's a good time.
These are definitely special issues to us, so it was good getting to go on and look at them with you.
Oh, okay, that's it for the day then.
Well, once again, Indy's telling us that's all the time we have for today. Rob, thank you once again for joining us in the Raven's Nest and giving us your Indy opinion on these adventures. That was a blast. I had fun.
So did I.
Thank you guys, and hey, keep up the good work. Maybe we can get back together again and talk about, maybe we can talk about some further radio adventures as we move forward.
Excellent. And as we mentioned, too, that Rob's got a revamped version of the Indy Opinion coming up. So, Rob, where do you want people to send those emails to get in touch with you?
Still the same old email address, rob@theindyopinion.com. They can reach me. If somebody wants to debate the merits or not so much merits of Temple of Doom with Keith,
yes.
Send in an email that you want to be on the other side of the debate.
Should Indy get the MacGuffins? I mean, in something like this, we can take on that challenge. Should Indy get them, or are they just not basic to the plot?
Where would you like to see Indy return now that Disney has bought out Lucasfilm?
Will Indy return?
Will Indy return?
There's a lot of Indy opinions. Call Rob, email him, send him your thoughts.
Honestly, I don't know if you can tell or not, Rob, but we really want you to come back.
Well, there are definitely plenty of things to talk about, which is amazing. When you think about this character, here we are, 31 years later, and nothing is really happening, but we've got plenty of things to talk about. So, we can have some lively debates, I think.
I completely agree. We have great fans, great listeners, and, I mean, just the IndyCast crew ourselves, we're all ready to talk about this character that we love so much, this world that we love so much. So let's make it happen, folks.
And we might have some more special guests up on our next episode in the Raven's Nest, something we're working on. So, we had Rob this time. We've got a couple more guests. So we'll either have those very special guests on next episode, or Keith and I will review issue number 11, the first part of the fourth nail. One of those two things will happen next time on The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones.